It is, but
I'd like to bring the March 9th, 2016 Planning and Zoning meeting to order. Would everybody please join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
thank you.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Abbott? Here. Commissioner Selberg?
Here.
Commissioner Buck?
Here.
Commissioner Azarmi?
Here.
Commissioner Walker? Commissioner Kelly?
Here.
Commissioner Gordon?
Here.
Chairman Flouché?
Here.
Thank you. You have
I'm
a
not
quorum.
here.
Forgot
Oh.
Crystal.
Oh, I apologize. Commissioner Gordon.
Because I'm forgettable.
Thank you.
She wanted to leave
I s-
anyway.
I marked
I'm
you,
out
but
of
I,
here.
thank you.
I'm present.
Okay, thank you.
Mentally or physically?
Just a couple of standard announcements. Anyone who has not yet signed in, please do so at the table located in the lobby. Should anyone wish to speak, please complete the request to speak form, which is also located at the lobby table next to the sign-up sheet. A request to speak form must be completed for each item you would like to speak on, including sub-items. Please note that there are stairs on the right, center, and left, and that we ask that you use caution when using these stairs. There's also a ramp located at the audience's left. If anyone has written comments, exhibits, petitions, photos, or letters they intend to use at today's meeting, please have 17 copies and give them to the staff member in the back of the auditorium. She has her hand up. Members of the public cannot speak to the public, members of the public cannot speak to the staff members that are sitting in the tables with the microphones during the meeting. You have questions, please see the staff member in the back of the auditorium and she can meet you in the lobby to discuss. All speakers will be limited to 2 minutes for their presentations. Everyone, please turn off your cell phones and pagers or place them on vibrate during the meeting. If you must receive a phone call, please leave the meeting area and go outside to have your conversation. We also ask the audience refrain from talking with one another during the presentations and discussions. Today, the Planning and Zoning Commission will hear public testimony and then forward the recommendations to the Board of Supervisors. The items with the recommendations made by the Commission will be heard by the Board of Supervisors on Monday, April 4th, 2016 at 9:30 a.m. in the same location, with the exception of any continued items. Everyone attending the meeting is asked to remember that the administrative building and campus are tobacco-free areas, which means no smoking allowed curb to curb. Also, only bottled water is allowed in the auditorium. No food, soda, coffee, etc. is allowed. If there are any items remaining on the agenda, the Commission will break at 1 o'clock for lunch. Approval of the minutes from last month. Has everybody had a chance to review them? Any corrections? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept those minutes.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Gabrielson, a second by Mr. Selberg. Those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Item number 1.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
if I make a recommendation, it seems like we have a lot of people coming from long distance for item number 7. If there is no objection, if we can bring that to front, so they
Okay.
will be able to go home sooner.
All right, we can do that. Everybody like
You
that
need to
idea?
make a motion on that, or?
No.
Okay.
Item number 7.
Okay. Item number 7 is an evaluation of amendment to the Mojave County zoning ordinance to include Section 37X agricultural exemptions for properties that meet Arizona Revised Statutes 11812A and 11865A1, as requested by the Board of Supervisors at their January 19th, 2016 meeting. This evaluation is to determine whether approval should be granted for an amendment to the Mojave County zoning ordinance as requested by the Mojave County Board of Supervisors. At their meeting on November 16, 2015, the Board of Supervisors directed staff to research the policies and procedures implemented by other Arizona counties for providing exemptions to the building code and zoning ordinance per ARS 11812A and ARS 11865A1 for grazing and general agricultural purposes. They also directed the department to develop a proposed policy and procedure for providing the exemption in Mojave County. The department presented the research found and the proposed policy and procedure to the Board of Supervisors on January 19th, 2016. The research showed that most counties use the county assessor's agricultural classification to determine if a property qualified for an exemption. And staff proposed a policy and procedure that requires such classification by the county assessor's office. After hearing the research and proposed policy and procedure, the board made a motion to direct the department to draft a proposed ordinance for agricultural exemption for possible adoption and to include a list of all buildings that have been built under the current exemption beginning in 2007. We have in your packets a presentation, and we'll go over that presentation now.
All right, thank you.
The first slide is what our state statutes are. ARS 11812 states, "Nothing contained in any ordinance authorized by this chapter shall prevent, restrict, or otherwise regulate the use or occupation of land or improvements for railroad, mining, metallurgical, grazing, or general agricultural purposes if the tract concerned is 5 or more contiguous commercial acres." Then down in ARS 11865, it states that the provisions of this article should not be construed to apply to construction or operation incidental to construction and repair to irrigation and drainage ditches or accessories thereto of farming, dairying, agriculture, viticulture, horticulture, or stock or poultry raising. Just to kind of explain what an agricultural exemption is. An agricultural exemption is an exemption from land use regulations and the application of building codes for grazing or general agricultural purposes if the tracts concerned are 5 or more contiguous commercial acres in size. We'd like to make mention that a commercial acre is a unit of measurement. It's not signifying that the acre is used for commercial purposes. In that same slide, it notes that 1 commercial acre is equal to 3,600 square feet.
36,000.
36,000, that is correct. So just to give an example, if I have 5 commercial acres, which comes to about 4.13 regular acres, and would like to do an agricultural use on my property, then I can apply for an exemption with the county that would exempt me from building codes and also the zoning ordinance. Say I wanted to build a structure for my tractors or a structure for a barn or something like that, then I would not have to apply for building permits if I have that exemption. This chart, the next chart, shows who's affected by the agricultural exemptions.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
can I ask Scott a question?
Yes.
Sure, go ahead.
I hear how you read that. How is it now?
We'll get to that in just, right now, we're going to get that in that.
Same thing you just said,
Yeah.
that they could build that structure without applying for permit.
That's-
How is our ordinance written now?
So we don't currently have anything in our ordinance. We're just going off of what the state statute is, which we have interpreted it as we can issue these exemptions depending on if they have 5 commercial acres and if they have an agricultural use. And we'll get to that.
Do they have to
We'll
come
get-
to the county, though, to ask for an
Correct.
extension?
Correct.
As it presently is?
Correct.
Thank
We'll kind of go through the process as it is now
Thank
and as
you.
it's going to be, if it's approved.
I get too much, I get lost.
Okay. So this chart kind of shows who's affected by the agricultural exemptions. Our first column shows properties that are less than the 5 contiguous commercial acres, which comes to 4.13 acres. If you have less than that, then you're not affected at all. A lot of people came to us wondering, okay, can I still do my chickens in my backyard or my crops or whatever it might be? Yes, as long as you have that zoning class as it's zoned for, as each property is zoned for AR or whatever it might be. If you have the AR zoning, then you can still do all the things that are allowed within the AR zone. The exemption only comes in if you would like to receive an exemption from building permits and the zoning code. So properties that are less than the 4.13 acres are not affected at all. They wouldn't qualify for the exemption either way. Properties that are more than the 5 contiguous commercial acres are the ones that are affected. Those that currently have the exemption and those that don't have the exemption but maybe would like to, if the ordinance changes or if we adopt an ordinance, then they will be affected. Properties who currently have an agricultural exemption, if it stays the same, they're not going to be affected. Everything stays the same. And under the proposed exemption policy, they would be affected as well. Let's go to our current policy. So right now, if somebody wants to apply for an agricultural exemption, the property owner will come in and fill out an affidavit of agricultural exemption form and submits it to our permit technician. The affidavit is reviewed by our planning and zoning manager or assigned planner, and a determination is made as to whether the activity is eligible for the exemption per the ARS 11812. So if it has the 5 commercial acres, and do they have some type of agricultural use? And if they do, then they do qualify. The third step is the applicant is notified in writing of our decision to deny, approve, deny, or request more information. Development Services Department does not inspect the property to verify that an agricultural activity has taken place, but relies on the word of the applicant. So right now, we wouldn't go out and check and make sure that they have an agricultural agricultural use, and that use is continued on their property throughout the years. It's just kind of going on the word of the applicant. And then a copy of the department's decision is filed away. Why change? Mojave County's policy is to ensure that the land use and structures established in Mojave County further the public health, safety, and welfare while recognizing the importance of agriculture in the county's economy and the exemptions in state statute. The Board of Supervisors came to us to direct Development Services to look at how we could change our agricultural exemption policy to do the following. Align our policy with what most Arizona counties are doing, take into account relatively recent court decisions that changed the interpretation of the law, and make sure the exemption is being used properly, and to better qualify properties for the exemption. So what is the proposed standards? The proposed standards would be that the applicant would still fill out the application and turn it into our permit tech. The affidavit would be reviewed by our planning and zoning manager or the assigned planner to see if it has the 5 commercial acres, but then also that it is classified by our Mojave County Assessor's Office as grazing or general agricultural to be eligible for the exemption. So right now, our county assessor has a process in place that they qualify properties as agriculture or grazing. And we would look at the property to see if they have that code classification. If they do, then they would qualify for the exemption. Again, the copy of the department's decision is given to the applicant. And then if the assessor revokes that classification, so the assessor makes inspections regularly on the property. If the assessor decides to revoke the agricultural code classification, then the property will no longer be exempt and shall be subject to the requirements of the Mojave County zoning ordinance and building codes. I've created a little chart, a comparison chart to kind of show you what we do now and what would be required of an applicant if this proposal is taken. Under our current policy, the required acres is the 5 contiguous commercial acres. Under the proposed proposed ordinance, you'd still need that 5 contiguous commercial acres because that's what's in our state statute. The required land in production, as of right now, you don't have to have any land in production. You just have to note on your affidavit that you will be doing something. For the proposed one, or the land in production, we don't have a size requirement, I guess. Under the proposed one, the assessor has certain requirements for agricultural uses. For permanent crops, you must have at least 10 gross acres in production. Seasonal crops, you have to have 20 gross acres in production. And high-density uses, there is no minimum land in production, but there has to be a high-density use. And examples of those are flowers, ornamental plants, rose bushes, trees, raising animals or poultry in a controlled environment for meat, milk, or fur. Under the current policy, required years in production is 0. You don't have to be having the exemption or the agricultural use before you apply. Under the assessor's code classification, you have to be in production 3 out of 5 years prior to applying. Required number of animals for grazing, right now, you just have to have 1. If you had a cow on your property, then we would count it okay to have the exemption. Under the assessors, you have to have at least 40. Inspections, we do not perform any inspections like I mentioned before. Under the assessor's office, they do complete initial inspection, but then also every 4 years would come back and look at the property to make sure the agricultural use is still in use. The use of the property under the current exemption or policy, you can have the agricultural use be the primary or the secondary use. Under the assessor's office, it has to be the primary use of the property. Then generating profit from the agricultural use, it's not necessary under the current policy. If we change to the assessor's office classification, then it would be necessary. You would have to have profit from the agricultural use to receive the exemption. Just a side note that tax assessment, the property classified as residential is assessed at 10%. So if we're requiring that the property have the agricultural classification with the assessor, then the agricultural classification is assessed at 15%. So it's a higher tax rate or higher tax assessment with the agricultural classification. Grandfathering. Right now, the Development Services Department will recommend to the Planning and Zoning Commission and to the Board of Supervisors that all structures and buildings built under an existing agricultural exemption will be grandfathered, and that the agricultural exemption itself will not be grandfathered. As we have it written in our ordinance right now, is that we will review each exemption yearly, and if they do not meet the current or meet the new standards, then they will have their exemption taken away. Just a couple, that's it on the presentation. Just a couple side notes on the ordinance itself. A lot was kind of explained in that presentation of what the new requirements will be. In D on the ordinance that we've created, the exemption will only apply to areas classified as an agricultural or grazing use by the Mojave County assessors. So when the assessor gives the classification, they designate areas specifically for agriculture, and then areas on that property for residential. So we can only apply the exemption to the areas that have that agricultural designation by the assessors. On E, all buildings and structures not used for agricultural or grazing purposes, including structures used for residential purposes, will be subject to the requirements of the Mojave County zoning ordinance and building codes. So if you're not directly using a structure for the agricultural use, you would be subject to our zoning and building codes. And just a note in there that we put structures used for, we were instructed to put structures used for residential purposes would not be exempt. We did receive an opinion from our county attorney that might be contrary to that part of the ordinance, and Chris Ballard will be reading that or that memo from the attorney here in just a second. The last thing is that in I, we did place in there a fee of $250 will be required for processing the agricultural exemption request. I'll turn the time to Ms. Ballard for the memo that we received from the county attorney.
Thank you, Scott. Ms. Ballard?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. I would note that that $250 fee, there are certain requirements we have from the state of Arizona that are embedded in statute that we have to that the county has to follow prior to any fee going into effect. So that fee would not go into effect until those steps have been completed and accepted by the Board of Supervisors. So at this point in time, any adoption of that, of the ordinance would not necessarily immediately result in the fee. We have some follow-up steps that we would have to do. Now, on March 4th, the department did receive a legal opinion from Robert Taylor, the Chief Civil Deputy County Attorney, and I will read that into the record. The memorandum for clarification is addressed to me, so if you keep hearing you and you want to know who you is, it's me. You have asked for an opinion regarding several issues presented by the proposed amendment to the zoning ordinance regarding agricultural exemptions. As I understand the proposed amendment, it is not intended to add restrictions on the use of property and improvements for agricultural purposes. It is only intended to provide a process for determining whether property and improvements are entitled to agricultural exemptions under Arizona Revised Statutes 11-812 and 11-865. As the Court of Appeals ruled in Raven Rock Construction, LLC v. Board of Supervisors of Maricopa County, 207 Arizona 135, 83P3D 613. If you're an attorney, you now know where to find it. A Board of Supervisors has the authority to adopt reasonable procedures to determine whether property within the county is entitled to the statutory exemptions. It appears that the proposed amendment is similar to the procedure before the court in Raven Rock. ARS 11812A provides, in pertinent part, nothing contained in any ordinance authorized by this chapter shall prevent, restrict, or otherwise regulate the use or occupation of land or improvements for grazing or general agricultural purposes if the tract concerned is 5 acres or more, 5 acres or more contiguous commercial acres. This means that the county cannot adopt zoning classification that would prohibit obvious agricultural activities such as grazing, growing of crops, or on any tract of land over 5 acres. I do not see how a county could prohibit someone from planting crops on a tract of property 5 acres or more, regardless of the underlying zoning, whether or not an agricultural classification has been obtained from the assessor. ARS 11865 provides in pertinent part that Article 5, the building code, shall not be construed to apply to construction or operation incidental to farming, dairying, agriculture, viticulture, horticulture, or stock or poultry raising. This is where the application of the proposed amendment would most likely come into play. Under the precedent set in Raven Rock, a county could require compliance with the building code and zoning ordinance with respect to structures and implement storage unless the agricultural classification had been obtained from the assessor. This could be helpful in cases where there are questions as to whether the use of the property would be considered a general agricultural use, or where a structure, or where there are questions as to whether the use of the property would be considered general agriculture, or whether a structure would be considered incidental to farming or agriculture. In Braden Trust v. the County of Yuma, I'm going to skip the site, the Court of Appeals provided guidance as to whether type of structure would be deemed to be incidental to farming and agriculture. The court found that on-site housing to be constructed for farm workers was incidental to farming. I believe the same rationale would apply to the farmer's primary residential structure. The Braden Trust Court cited cases from other jurisdictions where the farmer's primary residence would be considered an agricultural purpose. I think the purpose of the structure rather than the location would be the determinative factor of whether it qualifies for the exemption. If it is incidental to the farming or agricultural operation and part of the tract, it would probably be considered exempt. Questions may arise as to the retroactive application of the proposed amendment. This issue is addressed in Section 2F of the proposed amendment, where it provides that the previously issued exemptions will continue to be valid per on the basis that they were issued. Previously issued exemptions would probably be protected as vested interests or by ARS 11812A1. That particular section did confuse staff, so we called the attorney and asked him for clarification, and he agreed that it referred to the structures, where those structures were built or constructed in good faith without a permit under an agricultural exemption. This protection would not last if the use of the property changes, so that would not qualify as a general exemption use. This is, I already read that. The county is not authorized to adopt restrictions on the use or occupation of the land, improvements for which general agricultural purposes for tracts of land of 5 acres or more, but it is authorized to adopt reasonable processes to determine whether the land or improvement qualify for the exemption. This distinction should be kept in mind when considering any amendment to the zoning ordinance regarding this matter.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
It seems like, I don't know about the other commissioners, how they feel, but it seems like, the Board of Supervisors directed the staff to work on this, but there was not enough time to really research, get more information in. And, it's in my opinion, they need more time to go back, research other counties, because that's what basically the idea is, to compare to the Arizona counties around. So my recommendation to the commission, after we hear from the public, is to maybe extend it for 90 days, and then 90 days they would be able to do a comprehensive research with a complete report and bring it back to the commission for review at that time. But I really like to hear the public, those who
Yes,
signed up.
I would agree with that. Let's start off with public comments. Jack Wyman. And after Jack will be Rachel Lacey.
Pardon me for being a little nervous here. I've lived in the state, I was born in Phoenix.
Please state your name and address, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
excuse me, my name is Jack Wyman, and I live at 19625 Rawhide Canyon, which is roughly halfway between here and Seligman. I have a exemption that I filed for several years ago, and I'm currently in the process of raising a lot of animals, but nowhere near 40 cows on 36 acres, which would be practically impossible to do. And frankly, what this allows us to do here, which is unique for a county, is let the middle people, the middle class people, not major farming, which would be 40 or more cows, like a rancher or a very large farmer, as for instance like Mr. Wakamoto. It allows your middle class to work their way up to that. I can develop my property, but it's going to take a number of years. I couldn't probably meet the criteria presently laid out by the assessor. But I realize I have at least gotten my exemption. What I am doing, though, is I'm developing many other different types of farming, which is our technology has allowed us to do. Like there's aquaponics, which I haven't done, and there's also wick beds and so forth that can allow my animals fertilizer that I've developed and to turn into much larger crops and use a tenth of the water. So you're going to really stymie growth like that for the middle class people is really going to cause a real not allow people to actually develop their properties. And I hope you take that into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions of the speaker? Rachel Lacey, and then Joel Stevens, or Joe Stevens.
My name is Raquel Lacey, and I am a resident of Mojave County. I live at 18437 South Cholla Canyon Ranch Road. My property is 20 acres. Several years ago, I applied, filled out my affidavit, and we were approved for our ag exempt. We've been in the process of working towards our goals for the last several years. Again, we are not a large commercial agricultural group. We're a smaller group. I have met all of the requirements of the Arizona statute. We have built farm buildings as far as like sheds for our goats and a dairy barn and blah, 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 blah. All of it has been under compliance with the stipulations that were already made. What we were after was not the permitting fees or all of the extra rigmarole that we have to go through if you do it traditionally without an ag exempt. They would have to come out and everything would be permitting. If you want to build with metal, if you want to weld, and you don't want to do your traditional wood-style building, which in the state of Arizona doesn't last very long, you have to get it engineered. Engineering plans were over $5,000 for each building that we were anticipating building. We don't have to do that because we're ag exempt. Our buildings are structurally sound and they serve a purpose. Under the criteria of what we were presented at this meeting last week, there's nobody going to be able to meet the requirement. It's completely unrealistic. They're asking for 40 animals on a parcel that could be 5 acres or more commercial acres. You're not going to be able to house or manage that type of requirement. Their level of crops that are required is unrealistic. If you look at it, they have a lack of clarification on what the new requirements are. They weren't able to fill and describe a lot of the needs that they were going to meet. They were wanting proof of profit. They were basically what I see is they're relying on these other court cases, and I don't know if I have to stop now.
Go ahead,
I have
go
more
ahead.
to say. Can I continue?
Go ahead.
Thank you. They are requiring us to adhere to what has happened in other counties, and they want to bring Mojave County into compliance with what the other counties are doing. I live in Mojave County because it enables me to live the lifestyle that I choose. I don't want to live in Maricopa. I'm in Mojave County for a reason. I have adhered to the requirements that have been laid out in front of me. I don't believe that they need to be out at my property every 4 years, and I heard a change today that there's going to be a new fee required. What this is revolving around is, just as the gentleman spoke before me, the fees and the permitting on all of the stuff that is going to be required is going to limit us to be able to do what we need to do, when in fact we are already covered under Arizona statute. If we have filled out the affidavit and we are operating in good faith, then you don't need to come after me. If somebody is not adhering to that, that is a strictly personal deal between them and the county, and they need to deal with that on a one-on-one level. the stuff that they're showing in this presentation, if you look at that chart and you look at it with a little bit of the common sense from an ag perspective, it's completely out of the realm of what we are able to do right now for a small scale. And I just ask that you guys, you're up here, you're supposed to be representing us. Stop the overreach, stop the continued, you're going to pay more here, you're going to pay more there. I still have several structures that I need to build. I need to do them under the permit-free, and that allows me to build with metal so that we don't have to have structural engineering on it. And we paid our permitting for our primary residence. We went through that entire process. I had no problem with it. But I have to build another residence or another structure for people that would come in for things that pertain to my agricultural use. Again, that is under Arizona statute. I'm covered by the statute that is already blanketed across. I don't need to be pulled into what the other counties are doing. And that is what you people are up here supposed to be representing us for. I appreciate the opportunity to speak a little bit longer, but I'm not satisfied. I know that they haven't had the time, and I've worked with them. Christina Ballard was the one that gave us the ag exempt approval, and I've adhered to everything they've asked us to do. But I don't approve of what's being represented now and being asked of us as the people within Mojave County to do.
Well, that's why we need to tweak it a little bit. Any questions of the speaker?
Mr. Chairman, I have a
Yes.
question. You say you now conform to the Arizona statutes. What changes do you think should be made?
I personally
any.
think that it's working. You've got a case study with people that already have it within Mojave County. I want them to focus on Mojave County. I don't want to be pulled into what other counties are doing. I respect what you guys as a unit are trying to do, but leave it alone. If there's something that somebody else is not complying with, then deal with them on a personal level and leave me alone. I want to be able to continue on with the life that I'm leading. I filled out the affidavit. I did it in good faith. And that's where I think that needs to happen. I don't think they need to have proof. They were very vague on what their requirements were. Are they going to want to look at my tax records? Are they going to want, it's very invasive. It's none of their business, to be perfectly honest. They want to come out and inspect my property to make sure that I'm being ag. My affidavit is enough proof. If I'm willing to put my name on an affidavit and say that that's what I'm doing, then that's what I'm doing.
In your opinion, for your use, leave it like it is.
Exactly. Leave me alone.
Thank you.
I appreciate that.
Any other questions of the speaker? Thank you very much, Rachel.
Thank you.
Joel Stevens?
Hello.
Please state your name and address.
My name is Joellen Stevens, 3894 North Lookout Canyon Road, Kingman. My position is that what they're trying to implement will basically eliminate anyone who's not commercial. So that anybody that is just raising, for their own use or to share with neighbors, they won't be able to do it anymore and do it under the exemption. And so I'm not in favor of any changes to the current exemption. I also think that if we already have the exemption, which we do, that they can't take it away from us. And so I'd like that researched a little more as well. And I do agree with the 90-day extension so that we can more thoroughly figure out what's going to happen with this. Thank you.
Any questions of the speaker? Thank you very much. Amanda Kaufman?
Good morning, Commissioners. Amanda Kaufman, 6615 East Flagmine Road in Kingman. I've been talking to a lot of people between a couple of the supervisors, county staff, and a lot of people in the county that are affected by this proposal. And I think one of the big things that we have here is the ability to be able to raise your own stuff. There's a lot of people that don't live here in the city. And so they have chickens or they have milking goats, and a lot of times maybe they'll have some extra eggs and they'll go to their neighbor, hey, you want to trade for milk? And they don't have to come all the way into town. So it's not a commercial aspect of these ag exemptions, But there is a big need to have exemptions for anything agriculture related. And we do have a state statute in Title 11 that covers the building code and covers the zoning that is pretty clear, that says if you have 5 acres, you can do these things and they don't need permits. If it's incidental or if it's the primary, you don't need permits. And you know, we've talked about the chicken coops with the light bulbs in it, because now you have electric and anything requires a permit. Or if you have a milking barn where you bring your goat in and you have a hand wash station, you need a permit. And it gets carried away where the fees associated to this makes it completely impractical to apply or to comply with the county codes. And so regardless of what happens with this agriculture exemption, honestly, I would like it to stay the same. And I don't have copies of this, but this is a policy memorandum from 2010 that says in order to get the exemption, you have to submit a notarized affidavit, state what it is you'll be doing, and then that staff may conduct a field inspection to verify the conditions as stated on the affidavit. I understand what we need at this point is some kind of process to make sure that whatever's on the affidavit, if there is question, is verifiable. And I understand that there are some people that are abusing the system, in my opinion. There are some people saying that they're doing all these big things on parcels that maybe can't really support everything they're doing. Or maybe they're doing it specifically just to get out of $1 million house or a $500,000 house worth of permits and inspections. So I get that. I appreciate the consideration in extending this. And there's also a group of people out there that if this goes forward and tied to the state assessor's revenue, if you will, that's what the assessor works off as, that maybe we need another exemption in this county that kind of focuses on the rural lifestyle, so we don't have to worry about being not in code for our chicken coops and milking barns and feed storage areas. And that's all I have.
All right, any questions of the speaker? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Howard Stevens?
Howard Stevens, 3894 Lookout Canyon Road in Kingman. I've only lived here a few years, and I like the lifestyle. It's kind of fun to be trying to retire and to be raising a few animals, to have some milk, and to be able to maybe share some things with people around. And to make it more difficult to have this kind of lifestyle is not the reason I came to Mojave County. And I'd like you folks to consider that there are people that have come here not specifically for this ordinance, but have come here for this kind of life. And to make it more difficult to live it, if it involves having to go through permitting processes that are kind of abusive, would make it less of a place to want to retire and probably not draw as many Californians as you've done in the past. And I personally would like you to keep it the way that it is and to seriously think about whether this makes America great and we don't have to make it great again. Thank you.
Any questions of the speaker? Thank you. Mayanne Lorraine?
Good morning. I'm Mayanne Lorraine. I live at 1352 South Verdi Road in Golden Valley. I have 16 contiguous acres, and I practice general agriculture. I didn't know about this exemption until last summer. And then I thought, well, I better go apply for it. And then I heard the supervisors were going to change it. Well, I went out and got my paperwork, and they said, well, the law is going to be changed. So I came home and I filled it out because they wanted me to wait. The word exemption means you're exempt from something. It's very clear to me that the assessor's criteria for agriculture is very different from an agricultural exemption. It is a criteria for taxation and assessment of agricultural property. The exemption we have here in this law, I don't have it right in front of me, is against restrictions. And I really don't have to get that exemption from the county because the state grants it to me. It's a state law and it can't be changed except through the state. So I have the exemption, but I'm kind enough to go to the county planning and zoning and let them know that I'm practicing general agriculture, fruit and nut trees, chickens, Mustang, gardens. That's what I'm practicing, general agriculture on 5 contiguous acres. I'm going to talk a bit more.
Go ahead.
The county cannot make new laws. They cannot conjoin laws and make hybrid laws. They can only comply and make procedures and policies on the basis of the law, state law we have. Now, they cited 2 cases in their webpage. One case is about parking construction trucks on agricultural land in a residential area, which was denied. They're within their rights. Another one in Yuma was about multifamily dwellings for agricultural workers. That again was denied. They need permitting for that kind of dwellings. I'm all for that, but it has nothing to do with the assessor's office at all. And I want you to consider that and deny, keep the standard we have now with policies and procedures. Forget about the other counties. They don't have any legal backing that I know of beyond a bunch of maybes. So I think we should stick with what we have. Thank you.
Okay, any questions of the speaker? Thank you very much. Ralph O'Doul? Or Donald? Sorry.
Hi, Ralph O'Donnell, 11870 Bogles Ranch Road. I've been a resident of Mojave County for 10 years. My main business, has taken me all over Arizona. And when my wife and I found our perfect piece of land, it happened to be here in Mojave County. When we purchased our land, it was just for a home, a place to live. We then had many ideas and came up with the idea to make the land pay for itself and support us. Coming up with all kinds of different ideas, we came up with the Why Not Homestead. Homestead has many meanings to as many people as there are wanting to live a self-reliant and sustainable life. We've chosen this way. We've also to be profitable while contributing to our community. To do this, we started the Why Not Homestead. We are larger than hobby backyard farmers. We are substantially smaller than a commercial industrial farming operation. We're somewhere in the middle. The ag exemption for us is very valuable. It's a tool because the permitting and engineering creates financial hindrance. Limited funds to keep progress, that keep progress slow and difficult. Ag exemption is an asset and lifts unnecessary financial strain on operations. Without the ag exemption, we would not be here where we are in this business today. Any changes to my current ag exemption given to me by developmental services, whether it be adopting or aligning with Arizona exemption or other proposed changes, would have a negative effect on us. Thank you.
Any questions of the speaker?
Thanks.
Thank you very much. We have no more speakers.
There's no more speakers?
No more speakers. Double check. Yeah, okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Well,
Yes, Mr. Hunt? Absolutely.
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, the department does not object to the proposal that Mr. Zarmi made earlier. However, in one of the things that we have come to notice is that should the Board of Supervisors go with the exemption as proposed and basically follow the lead put forward by Maricopa County and Yuma County, there appears to be a need for another form of, for lack of a better word, relief for those people who have historically had exemptions or could have exemptions under our current rules, but would not apply, could not obtain them under the proposed change. And the department in that period of time that Mr. Zarmi had mentioned would also like to look at several alternatives or examine several alternatives to see if there is one available that is acceptable to all parties that would provide that relief that they're looking for.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
If I understand the process, obviously, one or two supervisors, they, are concerned about an item. They direct the staff to do research and come together, come up with a plan, and then they present it to P&Z Commission after they hear the public, and then goes to Board of Supervisors for the final decision. So I'm hoping that in that 90 days, the staff would reach out to public and get feedbacks from the actual people that are using these exemptions, get a better feel of who they are, what are the exceptions. And again, I always say that, one size fits all does not apply in Mojave County. There are so many different variables involved in Mojave County, different applications. And as we heard today, there are so many different examples of it. So my thinking is that within this 90 days, I hope that there would be some dialogue between, the staff and the public to be able to get their input, compile that information among the other information, and in 90 days, bring it up so it would be for further discussion. And again, by no means it means that, this is going to become an ordinance. I'm sure that the welfare of residents and people of the Mojave County will be considered by Board of Supervisors.
Mr. Hunt?
Mr. Chairman, I really appreciate what Commissioner Zarmi said. And, listening to the comments, they are very worthwhile comments that we heard from the public. And also, as was mentioned, we had some discussion with some folks out there. And basically, there are two issues here. This agricultural exemption that Development Services is providing by statute is basically for building permits. I think based on the county attorney's opinion, there is no issue whether they can do agriculture or not, they can. But whether they really need building permits or not. And so there's one issue, the agricultural exemption, tying it to the assessor's process. That was the direction we were directed to go. But there is also an issue that Chris Ballard pointed out here, that many of the folks, they just have this rural lifestyle, and I don't have a good definition how to describe that, but they want to have a relief from probably building code requirements. And so in that respect, I really appreciate what Commissioner Ozarmi said. We also like to start a discussion, and that's what I propose, to start a discussion outside of the agricultural exemption issue, but start a discussion with the folks out there, and I want to invite them to approach us. Probably going to make a meeting and sit down with them one-on-one to discuss what kind of relief can we provide. Like came up many times that, chicken coops, do they need building permit? No, they don't. And then certain, sheds, well, we can probably increase the size, and like to get the chief building official involved with that, because the issue here is the building codes were adopted as safety codes for the county, so make sure there is no liability. But on the other hand, give them relief on certain things where they don't need building codes. So I just wanted to echo Mr. Ozarmi's comments and Chris's comments that we would welcome that and move in that direction if we can get if the commission would be willing to continue this item. That would give us an opportunity to start, to clarify more the ag exemption issues, and also start discussion with this other item to give relief for the rural lifestyle. And I don't have a really good definition for that. Some folks mentioned, homestead or whatever. I don't think that's the right definition, but we could discuss it and bring it back to the commission.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Director Hunt, do you think 90 days is enough, or do you need more time?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Ozarmi, I think 90 days would be effective. We would start the discussions right away, and we already started thinking, staff started thinking in that direction too, and also want to have more comments. So we can start working on it right away. We understand it's an important issue, and I think 90 days would be adequate for us.
Okay. Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I'm going to make a motion, and then I'm sure it would be discussion.
We have some more comments.
No.
I'm waiting patiently. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go right ahead.
I was at the first open meeting for this, and it was very chaotic. It was very hostile. But we have great people in this county. We have extraordinary, awesome people, and I've had the opportunity to talk to them and, what they do with their AG exempt. And found out that some of them are misunderstanding AR zone and think they're going to lose that versus AG exempt, okay? So there are things that these workshops and public input can clarify between the two, okay? And it needs to be clarified. That was a big thing, is I've talked to several people. Well, I have AR, I'm going to lose it. I have agriculture, what am I going to? No, that's a zoning. I don't think that we need to clarify the two, the motion. That would be a big thing. But having the workshops with public input, because of the vast and different type of AG that we have out there, I think it's very important that we look at these people and we listen to them, that we put our efforts into our community and not worry, so much the outside. So workshops, a couple of them, that let people put their input, and we can take it all and make it a round and a good thing, bring, change it, whatever we have to do to a good thing for our county is very important.
Supervisor?
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, I just wanted to say that this agriculture exemption affects more people in my district than any other district other than Supervisor Watson's. And I am very much in favor of special consideration for an alternative for rural living, and I appreciate you extending this for 30, 60, or 90 days, whatever the P&Z planners think is necessary. So I just wanted to give you that input, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I have a comment for Ms. Bishop. As a commissioner, we get these things before us, and we make recommendation to the Board of Supervisors. I feel something like this only does one thing. It stirs up the community unnecessarily. Many of these people can't come from northern Mojave County up near the Arizona border to talk to these meetings. They can't attend these others. But we really mess up their way of living by bringing these things up. I think as a citizen of Mojave County, we should really look at these things before you ever ask us to make decisions on them, because they're difficult. They're very complex. Mojave County is unlike any other place in Arizona. And I just want to make that one statement. I'd just like to see these things not come before us that stirs up the community like it did. We just went through this thing with mobile home. That was going to affect thousands of mobile home. And I guess I'm from the old school. If it's working, don't try to fix it.
That's very true, Mr. Abbott. I very much agree with your comments, and I wish the mobile home thing had not have ever came up, or this agriculture thing, but it did, and we do live in a diversified county, and we have 5 supervisors that divide this county up, and each area is so different that some of the things that are brought up affect different parts of the county negative, and it's a discussion that has to be had and worked out, and I think we will work it out, and I think it'll be even better. I think there's some problems with the ag exemption that some folks were taking advantage of, and I think that will be repaired, but I think this rural lifestyle living, in addition, will make things a lot less complicated and better for the small person that just wants to enjoy their property and maybe live off the grid.
I'd like to say one other thing. I think you, the commissioners, do a very good job. So I'm not pointing fingers at people. I'm not pointing fingers at planning and zoning. I think you, from what I said, is pretty clear.
Thank
No
you very much. And
reflection
I
on
think
you
everybody agrees in this room today that Mojave County is probably the best place to live in all of Arizona, so we're going to try to keep it that way.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
As I just want to reiterate, Supervisor Bishop's comment is Mojave County is one of the, I guess, is the 5th largest county in the United States.
It is.
And we have 2 districts that is concentric with cities. So you have 2 districts that are 100% in a city environment and is 100% urban. Then you have other districts like Kingman that are kind of maybe the city of Kingman is part of it, and it's like maybe 80%, 20%. Then we have 2 other ones that are rural, which is your district is one of them. Yes. And that's what I'm saying, that it seems that as we are getting more population, one size fit all is not going to work. So I'm hoping that, when the staff is talking to the public and providing that, they would come back with, a ordinance that would be, if needed even, an ordinance that would be able to support the public and also, the notion that was made, I believe, by one of the supervisors. And one thing I would like to mention to Commissioner Abbott is that in the process, it seems like, one supervisor raises, the question, and it has to be addressed by the staff. So it's the reaction to an idea or somebody, and maybe, there was not enough information. And the whole process that we go through is a research, digging into it, bringing it up, discuss it, and then, as you said, like in case of mobile home, it goes away. So, thank you. And
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to comment.
Yeah, go ahead.
To Mandy about that. I don't think it's fair, and I don't think it's right for people to come into this community or any community and want to change it the way they want it. I've seen it for years. People come, they move out 40 miles somewhere, or 20, they have a dirt road, then they want their road paved. You move out that far, you can't expect roads paved, you can't expect fire, you can't expect water. So we react sometime. I think prayer was taken out of the schools because 1 or 2 people made an issue of it.
True.
It's just unfair to try to change these things for thousands of people that 1 or 2 or 4 people want it changed.
Absolutely. You're right.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Following Mr. Abbott, the one thing I have to ask is when this whole ball of string started to get pulled. It was over one issue that brought it to the attention. Someone misusing the AG exempt to build a house and not pay taxes. So instead of uproaring the public and as is, and, basically putting a threat out there that we are going to rip this out, change it, and you're not going to qualify, or here, we're going to change this, why isn't the county going after the people that are abusing it and correcting it at the bud instead of impacting it over to everyone else who is faithfully using it correctly?
I was listening to what you were saying, and I felt like I needed to come back down here and re-clarify. When we bought our property, I think that there are, Crystal brought up some information about us being confused about our zoning. Make no mistake, I'm not confused about my zoning. My zoning is ag residential or residential ag. I already have the zoning capability to do what I'm doing on my property. And then the statute for the ag exempt, I went ahead and I got that. I am in total agreement with Mr. Abbott. If it's not broke, don't fix it. We live this lifestyle here for a reason, and I am so grateful to be able to come to this meeting out of my normal workday. There's a lot of people that weren't able to be here. You nailed it on the head. Let's not stir things up. Let's not create problems where there isn't a problem. This is already something that I feel is a moot point to even go any further. We don't need to redefine what we already have. We don't need a new name for anything either. It's already covered. Leave it alone. Let us get back to business. I got a job I've got to work. My husband does too. I know you all are busy. But it was refreshing. I've been in these meetings before, and just to be able to hear some of the comments come from you people, where I felt like there actually was a snowball's chance for us to be able to have somebody understand and just cease. Enough.
Okay,
Thank
you
you.
very much. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Just add in 2 cents. The unfortunate part of our system is with our statutes and rules and regulations, there are always those who try to push it beyond the level of reasonableness and the level of how it has worked over the years. And so that pushes the system into reacting to that. And so it's wonderful that you folks have taken the time to come here, and we've all vowed to listen and respect that. And I think we've demonstrated that on other issues where there is input from the public, because that's the way the system is also designed to work. But we still have those who take the system, twist it, and mangle it, which forces us to do something. So when this goes back to staff, let's look at the abusiveness and eliminate the abusiveness rather than trying to correct the entire universe.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Mr. Hunt?
That sounds really good, but, staff can only enforce ordinances that are on the record. So I don't know what abuses we can go after if there is no ordinance to go after abuses. So right now, we don't have an ordinance, period. And we were directed to discuss something, and that's the direction we are going right now. But I just want to point out that staff cannot enforce just anything. Staff can only enforce the zoning ordinance. That's the only authority we have.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you. We have no more speakers. Any questions or comments from the commission?
Well, if you don't mind, I'll make the motion.
I'll call for the,
You've got to make his motion first.
go ahead.
I'll make a motion for 90 days extension for the staff to be able to communicate with the public and do more research and come back with more comprehensive report.
Second.
Well, motion by Commissioner Zami, second by Commissioner Buck. Any further discussion? I'll entertain a motion. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Continued for 90 days. Getting back to our agenda, item number 1.
Item number 1 is an evaluation of a request for a special use permit for a cottage industry on assessor parcel numbers 22536-022A and -022B to allow the sale of vegetables, hay, and livestock to feed to the public in an AR agricultural residential 1 acre minimum lot size zone in the South Mojave Valley vicinity, Mojave County, Arizona. The applicant plans to sell vegetables, hay, and livestock feed to the public. The proposed cottage industry will contain a parking area, office, cooling trailer for the vegetables, caretaker's quarters, garage, and garden. Staff recommends approval with standard conditions and with the additional conditions that the total customer visits related to the cottage industry shall not exceed 12 visits per day, and parking of commercial vehicles shall be limited to one, or as specified by the Board of Supervisors. Commercial vehicles cannot be in sufficient number or parked in such a manner as to damage the rural residential character.
Thank you very much. We have several speakers on item number 1. Ms. Britton? Midge?
On the top. Bless you. That's okay, take your time.
That's all right.
Good morning to you. Name's Midge Britton, 12161 North Round Island Road, Dolan Springs. Been here since 2001. However, somebody made us Golden Valley because of some tax base annexed to a school, and GPS has us as Golden Valley. I've been buying hay from Wakamoto since I got my first horse. About 4,400 pounds a month we get because I have taken in, I'm cursed with caring for animals that can't help themselves, and we have 9 rescues and 2 rescued goats. And they sell a quality product, and since we drive 2 hours to get there, it would be convenient to buy some eggs or produce or something like that. And so I would like to see if they can get their cottage license permit, and thank you very much.
All right. Any questions of the speaker?
Oh, one other thing.
Oh, yeah.
The other horse rescue in Dolan Springs, CBJ, she's not as mobile as I am after hip replacement, so she also wanted to say something she couldn't. So thank you.
Related to item 1? Item 1 is from Mojave Valley.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Is the applicant present item number 1? Would you like to address the commission? Sorry about that. I apologize.
No problem. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Jeff Goldberg. My office is at 730 East Beale Street. I'm with Bruno Brooks and Goldberg. I represent Vic and Julie Wakamoto. And I just wanted to say one thing, that the applicants are fully on board with the restrictions that the staff's requesting. I think probably a lot of you may know that Wakamotos have been in the area for years. Their farming operation, they had an extensive farming operation since 1980 in the Mojave Valley. It's extremely been scaled down from about 1,500 acres to 120 acres. This is different than what their store was on Highway 95, in that most of their hay sales now are going to be delivery from the field, not from the store as much. You'll still have about a third to half acre growing vegetables to sell like they have in the past, but on a much, much smaller scale. So we greatly appreciate the guidance that we've gotten from Development Services and staff, and we just request that you approve it and we can move it forward to the Board of Supervisors. And thank you for your time.
Okay. Any questions of the speaker?
One comment, Mr. Chairman.
Comment that affects the speaker.
All right.
Staff. Why is it necessary to give them a use permit for 3 years only? I've been going down there for many, many, many years. So these people, I think, are going to be there. That's my only question. Why just 3 years?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Abbott, that's what it states in our ordinance, is that the special use permit would only be available for 3 years.
There's been other things we've given people more time than 3 years. Now, I don't know your ordinance like you guys do. And I'm asking Mr. Goldberg, Are you interested in more than 3 years?
3 years is fine, Commissioner. I'm not quite sure what the process is to renew it after the 3-year period. They, as you say, they plan on being there longer than that, but the ordinance does provide for a 3-year max period, so we're willing to live with that as proposed by the
Mr. Chairman.
staff.
Commissioner Abbott, I guess your question is that, can we give them, if the application is going to be such that the zoning would be compatible to what they do, so they would be for the life of the project? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I don't necessarily life, but more than 3 years.
Okay.
Ms. Ballard?
I would be happy with the life of the project.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, the ordinance provides for an initial 3-year period, and that's more or less a test period. If the operation, it appears to be, after that period of time, appears to be compatible with the surrounding area, there are no complaints, et cetera, then the assumption is that the second round, if you will, of the special use permit can be granted for however long either the commissioner or the board thinks appropriate.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question for Ms. Ballard. What would be the proper zoning for this application if they want to be permanently, have this zoned properly?
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, the whole idea behind cottage industry was that if some sort of industry or even retail was going to go on at a very low level and would not be incompatible with the residential nature of the area, that it could, after this initial trial period, become as permanent as the applicant wants it. As far as if they were a larger operation or, that they, for some reason, couldn't meet some of the conditions that staff has brought to their attention, then probably, depending upon what they're going to be storing on property, et cetera, either a C2 or a CMO zone. I believe, along Highway 95, there was discussion of a C2H, but that's along a county highway. So it would be a different zone given where they're at.
Thank you. So basically, you have that option available to you in the future, I guess, after 3 years or whenever, you like to do that. And again, if I may add, I'm also a client of Wakimoto and the Mojave Valley area. They appreciate, the organic vegetables that they get and everything else like that. So, and also Wakimoto family is always been contributing to the community in different projects in the community. So we appreciate that too.
Yes, and Chairman and Commissioners, there's one other thing I did want to tell you. I didn't have time to get it in as an exhibit, but we had overwhelming support, and we actually had a petition with like a statement of 300 of surrounding property owners and people in the area that support it. So
absolutely.
I think there's a vast well of support for it.
Mr. Chairman?
And we don't believe it'll be intrusive to the character of the community.
I go back 40 years to when Dan Hargrove sold the vegetables out of the wagon at the community park, and I think he's looking down on us. This will be the third, I think, venture following in his footsteps. It's a wonderful idea. But a concern I have is one of the restrictions is that the entrepreneur of the cottage industry shall reside on the property. Is that applicable?
It is. We've confirmed with staff there will be one of the people that work in the cottage industry residing on the property, and that satisfies the ordinance.
Okay, entrepreneur threw me for a loop. I thought Victor was going to move. But
it is a little bit of a misnomer, but we have confirmed that is compliant with the statute.
Can that be cleared up just so it's technically correct? To me, the entrepreneur is the owner of the company. That would put Victor and Mrs. Wakamoto on the property.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, Mr. Buck, I guess we looked at the term proprietor and didn't necessarily think that the proprietor had to be the owner. It could be somebody who managed or somebody who worked with the operation.
How about a representative? Just a representative of the
Just
entrepreneur?
a representative. If it's an issue, we can, this is a new ordinance. We can certainly take a look at cleaning up that language so it's a little clearer in the future.
And one other item, I'm concerned. I've known that the quality of the product, and that if 12 people show up and I'm the 13th person, they'll be reminiscent of the gas lines of '72. And I'll be very upset that I have to wait till tomorrow to be customer number one. I'm opposed to regulations which are difficult at carrying out and yet can be so used if someone doesn't like tomatoes and wants to protest against the operation with a counter in front of it every day and shutting it down after the 13th customer. So, well, can we address this issue, either getting rid of it or somehow make it realistic?
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, the purpose for the 12 trips was, or 12 customers, was basically to ensure, I mean, this cottage industry has to be compatible with the residential units around it. And it was to ensure that the traffic did not actually exceed what would be expected of a single-family residence. I agree there is an issue with a hard number. No, we're not going to be out there with counters counting the cars. And even I think the county attorney would agree that if that 13th car showed up, it would be a de minimis violation of the ordinance, and no, we would not go after those folks. If 125 people showed up, that would be a different issue altogether. So, no, we don't expect the 13th or 14th customer to come back tomorrow. You know, it's a de minimis issue. It's not something that we would be worried about.
Thank you.
It still bothers me. It still bothers me. If there's somebody that
Well, yeah.
protests against it, that's going to be an issue.
Mr. Buck. The way that operates down there, someone pulls in, they go in, they buy their products, and they leave. Someone else pulls in. I've been in there getting hay, and 8 or 10 people will come in while I'm getting hay. So that should be removed.
I have to agree, because sometimes I go down for hay, and when the crop season comes in, you got a lot more people stopping in and out for corn, and sometimes they come in boom, boom, boom. Oh, and I want to thank Wakamoto's for keeping our hay here and not sending it to China. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, the staff would point out that, you know, the commission certainly has its options at this point in time, but the staff would like to point out that, I mean, if you have, you know, someone come in, buy hay, leave, 2 minutes later, someone else comes in and buys hay all day long, now that's the description of the commercial operation. And I just want to remind the commission that to comply with cottage industries, the operation cannot have a substantially larger flow of traffic than we would expect from a single-family residence.
And Commissioners, I might add that the scope of this operation versus what was on Highway 95 is considerably different. It's considerably scaled down. The Wakamotos are going to try to focus more on deliveries from the field as opposed to people coming in. So it will be not what you were used to seeing all those years on Highway 95. It will be reduced from that.
To that point, Mr. Chairman?
Oh, sorry.
To that point, we're not having tractors with engines out while we're repairing engines and rebuilding tractors and equipment on this property?
No, because it's not a headquarters for a 1,500-acre farming operation.
Great, thank you.
Basically, what you're saying is that, it would be direct ship from the farm to the homes, or, delivery would be done like that.
That's the idea, to focus more on that. There'll still be direct sales from the location, but we're
Occasional
contemplating a much more reduced volume of those. There may be some small some equipment on the property, but again,
there
it's
has to
not a headquarters for a 1,500-acre farming operation anymore. So.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Can we look at changing that to 25? That's a good kind of a round number, and I don't know if any of the staff has been down there when the fresh corn comes out and watermelons, but,
Why do you want to put any numbers on?
yeah.
Well, you can do it in the motion.
Can,
Chairman, I thought this item would require about a minute because everybody's in favor of it. Why don't we get rid of item 8, period?
Do what?
May have the maker of the motion do that.
Yeah. It's got to be in the motion.
We still got to go through.
I'll make a motion.
No, you
Well,
can't make
we
that.
yeah.
We still
have
got
more
public.
speakers
yeah.
to speak.
Okay. I'll clean that up, Bill.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioners.
April Reynoso?
Hi, my name is April Reynoso, and I live on the property. My husband's been with Victor since 2002, and we actually live on the property, and I'm there 24/7, so we're actually their caretakers. So I just wanted to address that to you.
Thank you.
Great. All right, thank you very much. Gail Bork, yeah, that's it.
Hi, my name is Gail Bork. I live at 8061 Evergreen Drive in Mojave Valley, and I work for Victor and Julie Wakamoto, and we have downsized. We are concentrating on our delivery, and a lot of our customers have gotten on board, but people like Crystal and Jack and Raquel and Midge that were spoke, they're all of our customers. We're going to do everything we can to comply with staff recommendations, because we just want to continue doing what we do and growing some of the best corn and watermelon. Thank you.
All right, any questions of the speaker?
Good job.
Thank you.
Yes, very good. Joe Morbido?
Oh, troublemaker.
Yeah, there's trouble.
Look out, here comes trouble.
Oh, yeah, he is.
Good morning, Commissioners. Joe Morabito, 2303 Hewlett Avenue in beautiful Mojave Valley. And I don't know what else to say. We're all in agreement that they need to be there, and I'm with you, Crystal. When it's watermelon and corn season, we'll get in line for it, but we will not be the 13th person. We'll make sure all of us can keep count that we're always number 11 or 12. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I have a comment for Mr. Morito. Could you get off of your tractor and help your lovely wife more often? Because it's not fair, for her to work 24/7, taking care of the horses and all that, and you're the only one driving that tractor left, right, up,
You are
north,
retired now, you know.
So could we make that as a commitment to you to go ahead and help your lovely wife more often and get off the tractor, please?
We're going to hear.
We have to make that into a conditional use? Thanks.
Patty Morbido. You're good? All right, thank you. Oh, we know that. We've known him long enough. Rocky Roselle.
Hi, I'm Rocky Roselle, 850 Safari, Bullhead City. I've lived there 41 years, and I'm just here to support the Wakamotos. And all I can say is they've done nothing but good for our community. And without them, it would be very hard. Everything has been said. They just are great, and they are there for people who need them, always. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ray White. Ray White. All right, he must have left. Okay, that concludes the public statement period. Any questions or comments from the commission?
I guess Crystal wants to make a motion.
Crystal?
I will make a motion to strike number 8 altogether and then accept all the rest of staff recommendations.
Second motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Gabelson, second by Commissioner Abbott.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Can we ask council if by doing that, if we're changing a statutory provision, which would sound, I think it sounds like it's mandatory because it's part of the statute, I'm not sure we can exempt that without exempting it to the next person and those that follow. Are we okay?
Let me get this thing. Mr. Chairman, no, you have no problem doing this. It's not statutory, it's part of regulation at this point in time. Mr. Buck, you can waive it.
Perfect, thank you.
And thank you for asking me a question. I was
Good for your time, good to be here, Bill. Call for the question, Mr.
Don't
Chairman.
leave.
Call for the question?
Call for the question. Those in favor?
Aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 2.
Victor, be sure to let us know when they're ready.
Yeah.
Item number 2A. Thank you, Chair Fluchet, members of the commission. Good morning. Item number 2A is the request for an amendment to the Mojave County General Plan, requesting a change from suburban estates land use designation to commercial, general commercial. It is also an amendment to the Yucca Area Plan, requesting the same change from suburban estates to general commercial. The request is to allow for the applicant to develop a storage facility located on the property. The proposed property size is 6.9 acres and is located directly east of Indio Road. And the location of this property is directly across the street from the Randy Racetrack facility that the commission approved last year. And so the applicant is trying to tie into what the applicant has proposing to tie into the commercial racetrack that is going to be currently constructed probably this year. In terms of the surrounding land uses, it is mostly vacant with the exception of one single-family resident approximately maybe 400 or 500 feet to the south. The existing land uses are, you do have commercial to the east, suburban to the north and south, and now the commercial recreation directly to the west. Staff has reviewed the proposed application and can find it compliant with the Mojave County General Plan and has recommended approval subject to the attached conditions. Thank you.
Is the applicant present? Yes. Okay. Would you like to address the commission or just questions? All right. Yeah, it's a loaded question. We have no speakers on item number 2.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
May I ask a question? I think I know the answer. It appears that this is open to the residents of Yucca for their property while they're on vacation. It says the storage facility will be available for track participants. Will it also be available for the general public, anyone in Stagecoach Trails, for example, that has recreational toys that they want to have in safekeeping? Is that your intention?
Well, as of right now, we're at the planning and zoning as far as changing it to commercial.
Please state your name and address.
My name is Bruce Tennant, and my address is 15096 South Indio Road.
Thank you.
I do want to say one thing off the bat. I want to thank Mimi and Hal at the city over there that they've just gone overboard to help me with these big words and stuff. You know, I'm a contractor, a commercial contractor. I'm not one for all these big words and stuff. And I want to personally thank them both for going over each word with me and helping me through all this process, because it gets pretty crazy after a while. So thanks again.
Okay, any questions of the speaker?
So back to the question.
Okay.
It is going to be open to the general public?
Yes, this is strictly for general public. The reason it was, we noticed a lot of cars gathering. In fact, just this last Saturday, there was 9 vehicles with trailers parked right there at the entrance of the bridge with quad runners and razors and stuff like that to go riding. And that's been going on for the last 10 years that I've been there. So we've pretty much seen that there is a demand for secure, I mean, with the theft that's going on out there now is just, in fact, there was a picture of the building right there. That was the second building. They stole the first 40 by 60 building off the property. Every nut and bolt there was, they took. That big building right there was, that's number 2 building right there. So we are definitely in need of a security system out there of barbed wire fence. That's all going to come up in the future, I'm sure. And right now, we're doing the unit mix. It's real hard to find what we need out there, but we see, I've been approached by a couple of people who live at the end of Santa Fe Ranch Road and Yucca, and down in there. They have 2 vehicles. They have a good vehicle they like to take out, and then a car they drive up and down the washboard road. So they're actually looking for a special spot to park their vehicles, their good vehicle that they can get right on the highway and drive and leave their, road vehicle, during the day as they switch. One person was a school teacher, works in Bullhead every day. She'd like to take her nice car to Bullhead and leave the rattle trap there, And another person was actually a doctor that lives out there somewhere, and he approached me and said he'd like to have his nice vehicle up closer to the highway. So there is a demand for that area for secure storage.
For 20 some years, I've managed Kickapoo and Santa Fe Ranch Road and all the 500 miles of stagecoach trails. So what you speak of is absolutely on point and in great need. One question I do have is the impact of your facility on Kickapoo. You're not going to be on that longer than, it's a mile to Mandan, so you're less than a quarter mile, right?
Oh,
If even that?
I don't think I'm, but from actual, right there where the frontage drive is, I'm only 600 feet.
Right.
Yeah, is the entrance to the storage units.
Yeah. Very good, thank you.
Okay. Any additional questions of the speaker?
That's sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to approve as recommended by staff.
Second the motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Buck and a second by Commissioner Gabrielson. Any further discussion? Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion 2A passes. 2B,
Chairman Fluchet, members of the commission. Item 2B is the evaluation of a request for a rezone of assessors parcel numbers 207, 20, 004, 007B, 009, 010, and 013 from an AR, agricultural residential / 1 acre minimum lot size zone to a CMO, commercial manufacturing - open lot storage / 1 acre minimum lot size zone to allow commercial development in the Yucca vicinity of Mojave County. Staff recommends approval with standard conditions.
the applicant is present. Any questions of the applicant? I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Make a recommendation, we approve item 2B as recommended by staff.
Second the motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Buck and a second by Commissioner Abbott. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 3.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item number 3 is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of assessors parcel number 337-10-122 from an agricultural residential 36-acre minimum lot size zone to a commercial recreation, and here it says 36,000 square foot, it should say 36-acre minimum lot size zone, to allow a horseback riding facility in the White Hills vicinity. Staff is going to request that, or staff is requesting that the commission hear the people who've come to speak at this item and then continue it. We did have a technical error in the advertising, and we'll need to go back and repeat that advertising. But we also think it's important that the people who came all the way from this area to speak on this item be allowed to do so before the commission.
Is the applicant present? Oh. First speaker is Sherry Sachs.
Good morning. I didn't expect to be the first. What I'd like to say is
State your
that-
name and address.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sherry Sachs, 21371 North Ventura Drive in White Hills. Like I said, I really don't have any opposition. In fact, I kind of like the idea of some commercial activity in our area. The problem is the access to that area. We have some concerns about, because we already have a tremendous amount of truck traffic on that road, and we're required as homeowners to take care of that road. So the fact that you're continuing it, I would like to see maybe something with the access to the road considered and maybe an alternative entrance to the property.
Okay. Any questions of the speaker?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Dust, as you and I both know, have been a problem in White Hills from those trucks now since Ralph McGrath developed it 20 years ago. Has it gotten any better?
No, in fact, it's worse because the house that used to be the office up by the well that you're familiar with, that house has been sold, and we no longer have access to the stand for the water truck to get water from. So now the road is never being watered. I don't have them with me, but a lot of folks have been taking photographs of the dust standing. And the other day, as I left driving down the road for work, I looked back, and there was about a 3+, maybe 4 foot high band of dust across White Hills Road where the children stand for the bus. So the dust is a worse problem now because the truck traffic has increased. They're going faster. There's more of it. So it's something that needs to be considered on behalf of our community, not only for the future of that project, but perhaps just for the future of our entire community. So I'd appreciate consideration there. Thank you.
Is the HOA still maintaining Senator as part of their obligation to the community?
We are still responsible for the roads. However, Senator and that we're not grading it. In fact, now we've got people that aren't Ralph McGrath is hiring people to grade that road, and it's not even his responsibility, nor will he communicate with us in taking care of that issue. So we have increased in multiple issues going on now.
Thank you.
All right, any questions of the speaker? Thank you very much.
Hey, thank you.
Joanne Courier?
Good morning. Yes, I'm Joanne Courier at 2112 North Fortuna Drive in White Hills. I'm a landowner. My husband and myself have moved to this rural area to retire, and as many of our neighbors have. We lived in the city for over 30 years and wanted to leave the fast-paced life, the light pollution, the noise pollution, and the many autos that the city life have. Do not like the idea of our rural lifestyle becoming an area of fast-paced autos and noise that will come with commercializing the nearby area, as well as the fact that they will drive through our community. Thank you.
Any questions of the speaker?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Robert Canier?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. My name is Robert Kaner. I'm a resident of the ghost town of White Hills, Arizona at 21337 North El Cerrito, White Hills, Arizona. My wife and I purchased this land quite some time ago, and then we were activated in the military being National Guardsmen, and we served in the Guard until about 2009 when the Guard said I was too old to serve any longer, but I was able to pass a flight physical up to that period and had quite a bit of experience in the flight evacuation system. During my tenure, we were first boots on the ground in Afghanistan, and I never thought I'd see the day of casualties being evacuated for dust or lung issues and total respiratory failure. Now, also as a National Guardsman, I also worked in the state of California as a California Highway Patrolman, most of which was a helicopter pilot, but I do recognize speeding vehicles and the truck traffic. Well, when we bought out there, we didn't see trucks because it was on a weekend. The developer assured us that the roads would be paved at a certain point in time. Well, of course, it hasn't happened, but we're still loving the area. The Arizona is magnificent, as the folks are also. However, the truck traffic's there, we accept that, but additional traffic I think would be a problem, and I'd like to see the commission consider, there is alternative areas out there, roads that are no longer being used, but it could be redeveloped, regraded, but I'd like to see the commission please consider an alternative route or some protection that they could provide us or help us with. Thank you for your time.
Any questions of the speaker?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Question for the staff, maybe Public Works. Is this a county road that we were talking about?
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, it is a county road.
It is a county road. Okay. Thank you.
Well, yeah, now, we're referring to Senator Boulevard, I'm assuming. What? Senator Mine Road, excuse me.
Well, the road that connects up to Senator from the White Hills Road comes in Skipper and then proceeds up. It's really interesting because I'm also taking interest in the community and elected to the board of the association. And in doing our research and trying to obtain some protection from the dust or some relief, we have found that the roads up where you're talking are county maintained. And when we're looking at, well, how can that be? Because it's not connected to a county road, maintained road, but they've got that protection. We're told that ours are public roads, but not county maintained in any way, shape, or form. Therefore, we have taken that responsibility. And it would appear that the developer has some kind of an agreement with the county that he'll maintain them, but we're having difficulties to get that done at this time.
Okay,
Ms.
members
Ballard.
of the commission, yeah, Senator Mine Road is maintained by the county.
It is?
Yes.
Thank you.
Maybe call them more frequently.
Well, that's an interesting, I agree with you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Any questions of the speaker? Thank you so very much.
Thank you for your time.
Jerry Richards?
Mr. Chairman, member of the commission, good morning. My name is Jerry Richards, and I live at 9184 West Tujunga, White Hills, Arizona. I represent the owners of the 540 acres called Golden Horseshoes Ranchos, Unit 2 in White Hills, Arizona. And our community is the gateway to the roads and to the access to what we're talking about here, the property in question. So you have to come through our community first. The business would greatly increase the traffic and dust passing through the community, and this would be devastating. I realize this hearing is not about the cars and trucks that already travel through our community, or our safety issues, the lack of road signs, or the speed limits, or the lack of enforcement. But if you are looking for reasonable opposition to this application for rezoning, then you need to know what we're already plagued with before you consider increasing our load beyond any reasonable limits. At this time, there's only one usable road that goes into that area that covers thousands of acres of private properties. Every car traveling north of us must begin travel through our community. This includes the large trucks going to and from the gravel pits. The question is, how much traffic is too much? And when I say traffic, I am not only talking about each car and truck on the road, I'm also referring to the dust made airborne by each and every wheel from each and every vehicle that finds its way through our community, which includes Skipper, Spear, and Senator. One would think that there must be a cap for acceptable traffic and dust on any given road. There has to be some limit. There has been no study to the impact of the local people in this area as far as dust emitted from this traffic. We have been complaining to ADEQ for years, but nothing is being done. ADEQ says their hands are tied because Mojave County is an attainment county or a county already in compliance. This does not take into consideration an individual or isolated location such as ours. I would like to, our cup runneth over already. And so we are asking you not to bring any more traffic to this road until you figure out how to reduce the dust and traffic we already have. I would like to add that there is another road that goes straight to that location. If this road can be made operational, then we would withdraw our complaint. The issue that we have is, she is correct, that Senator Road is county maintained. But beyond our community, it is not county maintained in our community, okay? Somehow they got it, I know that when I was talking with county about the possibility of having our roads county maintained, they said, well, you have to apply for one that touches a county maintained road and you have to do it in concession this way. And I asked them, well, how did that happen? How did they get county maintenance way out there and not touching any other county-maintained road? And the answer was, well, someone was asleep at the time that happened. So there is another road. I think that's the solution to our problem, is if that road can be made operational. The issue is that our roads are maintained by us, and nobody has to maintain it. So they go straight through ours and not the other roads that are now really dilapidated because nobody's been maintaining them because they didn't have to.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Okay, so basically, what you're saying is that, you do have a private road
It's
that
not a private
everybody,
road.
well,
Go ahead.
what you're saying is that the road goes through your community and it is not a county-maintained road, right?
Correct.
So either it's a private road or if it's a county road. So we have to first define that. I think I'm going to have to ask staff to help us with that. It's a little bit confusion here.
Well,
Is this a county road that everybody can use it? Or is it like private road that only this community is going to use it?
Mr. Chairman, Senator Mine Road is a public road.
Okay, so.
Anyone can use it.
Okay, so the understanding of the residents there is that, the county is refusing to assume the maintenance of the county road. Is that a false assumption by them, or what exactly is going on?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Azarmi, members of the commission, what the gentleman is saying is that the county does maintain Senator Mine Road, but not through the subdivision.
Okay, and that's where all these trucks are driving back and forth.
And
So-
I can,
So the
The
question
truck-
is that why is it that, they maintain before and after and not in that part?
Mr. Azarmi, I think that's a good question for the Public Works.
And I think we have a very good member there, Mr. Gregg. Good luck.
I put that question to county.
No, I understand, but I mean, the commission most likely need to know,
correct.
what is going on here.
Okay, we could probably get it county maintained. All we have to do is petition the county. The county has never been petitioned. But what I discovered as I was researching this, is that if we petition county to maintain the section through our community, of which we are required to keep proper and clean and accessible, if we petition it and turn it over to county, then it makes it difficult. We could actually not maintain that road ourselves now. We have removed our ability to be able to maintain it.
you're at the tip of the iceberg. I go back to the root. I was involved, I managed the association that you're now part of.
I'm aware of that.
Before I
We've talked
retired a
before.
year ago. We have fought this battle over dust, access, the gravel pit, the trucks, the commercial use, the abuse, the promises. It is something that if Public Works can step into this and do something effective, it'll be monumental for the 541 parcel owners in Unit 2 to a problem which has been absolutely abused by those that use the road and don't live within the communities. That's why I asked if it was going to have another impact. But I think this may be a great opportunity
Absolutely.
to solve a problem for the members of your Unit 2 in White Hills, as well as to who's going to maintain it, who will, and who can, and who may, and take care of this horrible problem with dust.
We don't have any problem with us maintaining that road. That is, again, in our governing documents. What we're going to be requesting is that the other road down below, just above Unit 1, be maintained, because that's actually a shorter route. It is a more direct route.
It's another solution.
And that will go directly to those areas, not through Unit 1 or Unit 2, and therefore not affect anybody. We've had people that have had to move out of Unit 2 because, at their doctor's advice, because of the too much dust.
What's the name of that road you're speaking about?
Well, the road I'm speaking about begins as Skipper and then turns into Spear. Largely it's Spear. And then
Spear?
yes, and then at the end of our community, there is a section that diverts off as Senator. So Senator actually begins within our community, and then it goes on out to the gravel pits. And it was for somehow either the gravel pit or something knew somebody or something and got it approved that the county would maintain that road, even though it doesn't directly touch any other maintained road, which is the requirements in order to do that.
Okay, Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
The question I have is that, the way I see it is that if it's a county road and it basically goes through your community and reaches other private properties there, I don't believe that, Mojave County nor this commission can make the recommendation for them to stop using it.
Absolutely.
So that's basically one aspects of it, to impose something on another landowner to go ahead and, extend another roadway to bypass make it isolated community. I don't believe that that would be practical. But now the question is that, if it is a county road and it is not maintained by the Mojave County, by the choice of your community, well, you can't have it win both ways.
Well, you are
Either
correct.
you want the county to maintain it, or you don't want it to be maintained. So,
Well, actually, the best solution here would be to open another road. Remember, there are thousands of private properties out there. One road cannot handle that as we begin to develop.
I understand.
More roads have to go through.
I understand that. What I'm saying is that, that it has nothing to do with this application before us. It's a land use ordinance that we are basically looking at. You have to direct that concern and question to the Public Works or to the other, departments to be able to address that and come up with an alternative solution.
We've done that at length. We have talked to county.
do you follow what
county
I'm saying?
roads. Oh,
This
yeah,
is-
we've already done that. Their hands are tied, is what they're
Application
telling me.
before this commission is for a land use ordinance item, which we have to match that with our land use ordinance that we have. And as long as it is compatible, which seems it is, basically that's all we have to do is to make a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors.
Well, what we're asking for the Board of Supervisors to do is to open another road, so
Okay,
as to
that's a different avenue,
Right,
yes.
okay, and it's not just for this application, but for any other application that might be applied for.
I think we are on the same page.
Right.
Thank
It's just that the air right now that we have is unhealthy. It's already unhealthy. And we've been fighting to get more roads open. We're being, but nobody in county wants to help us with this because, well, it's them, you got to talk to somebody else, you got to talk to your county supervisor. Something has to be done to open more roads to go through that community. Otherwise, you're killing us by allowing other businesses to go and operate beyond our community without giving better access. Then we might as well just sell our homes. Our property values go down. We've got literally no way to help ourselves out of this situation. So the only thing is, and I realize that another road isn't exactly what they're asking for. They just want to have a horse riding park. I don't have a problem with the horse riding park. What I have is the additional traffic that has to drive through our community.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask you a question? Have you, your association, your group, your community, have you tried to make an appointment with Public Works and sit down with them and, work it out to bring your concern to them, or is it just by phone calls?
I have had them at my house for more than 2 hours at a time.
But have you made an appointment with Public Works for like a meeting with director or someone, or?
Well, I've been told by ADEQ, County Works, County Roads, everybody, that the only person that can help us is our county supervisor, the only person. We can do nothing without talking to our county supervisor, and I do have an email into ours for District 4, and I hope to be meeting with her soon and bring that concern. But the thing about it is in the meantime, do we have to choke on all this dust?
Okay, thank you. Could I have a question for Greg, please? Mr. Van de Veer?
Yes, sir. Am I done?
You're done. Thank you very much.
Greg, could you explain more about, are you familiar with this project and the road and all that?
Yes, sir. From memory, I do remember some of the case on this.
Since the Public Works
project.
is directly involved, is there any provision? Has there any discussion about it? Has it been addressed? It seems like, they made some contact with Public Works before, so is it something that?
Well, from just my particular standpoint, sir, I have not been directly contacted by these folks, but I do recall the case of when the route that you're talking about became a access road to go out to a subdivision a few years ago, and the subdivision in question out there that was done in, I don't know, within the last 10 years, they did build their roads for the subdivision in accordance with county standards, so those roads were able to be taken into maintenance without the access road going to it being taken in for maintenance.
You're talking about Section 5?
Yeah, the Equestrian Estates project. So I'm well aware of the route that they're talking about. And in recent times, there has been some more discussion of actually having the route that they're talking about that goes from White Hills Road up through there, you know, the Spear, the other roads, it's been entertained and talked about. That's all it's been done for that to become a maintained route. So, you know, we at our staff will continue to work with those people that are looking into that and see if that's something that we can't get done, because we would like to see that get done as well. So we will continue to work with those people that are, you know, making that inquiry.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. You bet.
Be a nice problem to solve.
Is there anything else, you guys?
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Yes, Chris?
Like he was talking, he didn't understand why it skipped and missed on that road of county inductions, because the county inducted the section of Senator Mine Road due to the flow of traffic by delivery trucks, machinery, haulers for the mines, and the mines upgraded it to be inducted, and then when it came to the Equestrian Estates area, under McGrath and Leonard at the time, Leonard had his HOA that controlled the streets, and they were brought up so that was a process that Mr. McGrath and Leonard that founded the Equestrian Estates areas had intentions to do eventually, is induct them into the county for county maintenance to go along with Senator Road. Now, that kind of went downhill when county was having issues of road funding, and, you know, they just said, okay, we'll pay someone to do it. So that's how it got inducted, only in that section of heavy traffic, just on the outskirts of the equestrian border there, through their thing.
Kathy, would you like to come up and address the commission?
I wanted to talk.
Oh, you have another question?
I have something I'd like to add.
Come on up real quick.
That is, that these roads are being maintained at either our expense or Ralph McGrath's expense currently, okay, because he's concerned about the people coming through and seeing his new community, and he wants them to see nice, clean roads. So the question isn't really at this time the road being traveled as being rough or not maintained. It is being maintained. The problem is even though it's a maintained road, it puts off too much dust. It is maintained, but with all these trucks and everything going through here, because there's only one route, maintained or not, whether county does it or we do it, there's still too much dust.
Right.
It sounds like another road would help out a lot. Because
Absolutely.
I'm familiar with dirt roads. I'm familiar with maintained roads. Maintaining them causes more dirt. If they're not maintained, people drive slower. So
Right.
it sounds like more roads are the question, are the
Absolutely.
real problem.
And the fact that this goes right through probably the best developed community out there.
I have one question for him. Spear Road, you said that's the alternative?
No, Spear Road goes through our community. It first goes to Skipper, Spear,
Right,
and then
okay,
Senator.
it branches. Which road are you talking about that could be recut or?
Down below the canyon, okay, I
Okay.
don't know if you have any of that in front of you, but
No, I
below the
just am
canyon,
familiar.
there's another small quarry there, and there's a gate. And
Right.
there's a road that goes through there, and it actually shows on the GIS map of it veering off and going up and straight to the rock quarries and the location that you guys are talking about. So it's a perfect road. It makes it better for them, and it saves the health of the people in our community. And remember, we're kind of an older community. There's no industry out there. Most of our people are elderly, retired, fixed income, and these types of things. So the dirt issues are even more sensitive.
Yeah. Well, that sounds like a public works problem.
Yep.
Thank you.
Kathy?
What did you do this time?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Good morning. I don't know. Honorable Chairman, Commissioners, my name is Kathy Tackett Hicks. I'm acting as the owner's agent in this issue. And I guess I would just draw out the point that this particular small venture is about 4 to 5 miles north of this area. I did approach, ironically, I had no idea they were going to be at this meeting, but I have already approached Greg in the last month to see about getting that road maintained. And it was at the request of Ralph McGrath that I pursue this and get it done, okay? So Greg and I have started working on that. But the point is, there has to be a petition presented for you guys to even consider it. And it did get derailed when there was a lack of funds, and they were not accepting any more city-maintained or county-maintained roads. So the county owns it, but they don't maintain it. Equestrian Estates was processed through the standard subdivision process. It was built to county standards. It is maintained, and it's unfortunate that all those other homes are not, but that's how they were plotted and platted for their subdivision as well. You talked before, that's what they came into, that's what they have. A majority of the dust is the trucks. Okay, this particular venture, let's get back to what we're here for, is for a horseback riding facility about 3.5 miles north of Equestrian Estates, 4 to 5, even 6 miles north of these other homes. There's already, this particular owner already has an existing horseback riding business up in Vegas where they go out by Pahrump. And their process is they bring in a van or a group of people in the morning. They go on a 2-hour horseback ride. They come back and have breakfast. That's all there is. They come back for lunch. So they do this breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So there'll be 3 vehicles or vans, and maybe there's 2 vans for each one. So the impact of this traffic is going to be extremely minimal. I just, if I could please have a little more time.
Go ahead.
The gentleman is correct, there's other roads out there. This is the only one that meets the legal requirement, but clearly, if you're familiar with the area, and on the map up there, you can see that pink area is where this little 40-acre deal is. And on the north end, I think it's Lanado Drive of Ralph's Section 5 there, the Marty and Scenic Parkway comes up from White Hills several miles previous, and there is already a road. It's perfectly graded. It would be the ideal road to use. It will probably be the road that will be used. But in terms of getting a commercial site plan approved, you have to have legal access. So this one does meet that criteria. It is county road. It is able to be used. I would agree, though, that the trucks create a dust problem that's going to have to be figured out. If I can answer any questions, I'm more than happy to. I guess the good thing is I've already approached Greg. Probably Public Works should be working directly with these people. We need to fill out a petition. It needs to be presented and see if the board would assume some sort of continued maintenance. Although I would caution that it's not the panacea that everyone thinks it's going to be, because getting water on that road for tertiary treatment happens about twice a year or something. I mean, it's...
Not frequent.
Yeah, it's not going to take care of everything. You should probably look at some millings or something to put down on there. Yeah. So I'm happy to answer any questions. This is a real, it's a low-key commercial use. So it's just horseback riding. They'll have stables out there to keep the horses. And that's all it is right now. There's no overnight features, although I did put in there, if 4 or 5 years it comes into something, it is an option, but it is not at all right now. These are just little horseback rides.
I have a question, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
Okay, just to clarify, so under his understanding, at first, is going to be individuals just drive up there in their cars, drive up there in their cars. So you guys are actually going to be like, kind of like the Skywalk project, certain buses, these are what we're doing today. You sign up, your vans come in?
Yeah, it's never a bus, and it's not for drive-by.
Okay.
It's not for drive-by.
So it's all
no one drives by there anyways.
Well, it's
I mean,
like booked excursions then?
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
They're booked out of the
Right,
Vegas area.
That makes a difference on the traffic flow.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
is tabled.
Any additional questions of the speaker?
I have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
Kathy, you seem to be able to accomplish about anything.
There you go.
So you think you could get Ralph to open up one of these other roads, and we make it a requirement that you bring your people in by such and such route?
I love that gutsy request, but it's not Ralph's Road, okay?
Well, but
There are
they're
numerous
selling
roads already
property.
out there.
They're trying to sell property out there and make things look good.
Yeah, they are, but the road that the gentleman was talking about, I don't think, it doesn't have anything to do with Ralph. Ralph's already pretty much developed, to my knowledge, his property out there. In those existing Golden Horseshoes, he was involved in those, and then the White Hills Equestrian Estates, I don't know Ralph's holdings, but I think that's the extent.
Problem they're saying, though, is you're just adding more traffic to the existing road that
Yeah.
has too many trucks and buses and
Yep.
so forth on it already. That's the objection.
Yes,
So-
but it is a county road. It is for the general public. And so there's not, I understand their issue. That subdivision was created, they moved in there understanding that that is an open road to the public. And it is unfortunate. But I would draw your attention that the biggest problem is that truck traffic. This is not the 4, 5, 6, 7 vans that this particular project will use. They
Will
need
those
to get
vans be
something down.
bringing horses in, horse trailers, basically? Or just people?
Well, initially to mobilize, but the horses will stay right there. So they'll have a little stable and a barn area and keep feed out there. But there is another, the Marty and Scenic Parkway, if you've been on that graded road is in much better condition than these roads. And that, it comes in and meets right at the northwest corner of Ralph's Section 5 and goes west. And it comes down off White Hills in the paved area, like a mile up from 93.
Any additional questions of the speaker?
But this is the item that, if I remember, you still need
Yeah.
to table it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I know.
So we're gonna see,
Chairman?
we're gonna hear about it.
Talk about it again.
But maybe we can come back, and I'll speak with Greg and have some sort of petition or something set up on this road. I mean, we should be able to make progress on that. I don't know why not, unless the county flat out says they do not intend to maintain any further roads. That's what needs to happen, and I'm surprised it hasn't.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I think with your need, Kathy, and I think with the development, McGrath is just going to start marketing Section 5. With the activity starting in that area, with the supervisor here giving her card to the representative of the association, with Greg now knowledgeable that there's a need, I think we've matured, if you will, to the point where this issue with 541 names on a petition would be the process to follow, not necessarily today here, but it's a great, from my perspective, looking at the problem for 25 years, it's a great start for you to get some effective help and get some protection against that dust.
Okay.
And with that, Mr. Chairman, can we table the matter for how long, 90 days?
I think you wanted
What?
30, 60? I forgot.
I thought it was 6 months.
Mr. Chairman,
About
member of the
180.
commission, this is a technical advertising area. It'll take us only a few weeks to correct
30
it. So we
days.
would
Okay.
ask that.
Great. Can we make it till next meeting then? Are we all right with that?
30 days.
Okay, 30 days.
All right, all right.
That's
all
my
right.
motion.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Commissioner Buck and a second by Commissioner Zomany. Zomany?
Something like that.
Who
Very
are you?
close.
Are you a new guy?
You a new guy? Any further discussion? Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay.
12:15.
I hope it finishes. It's too slow.
Item number 4.
Item number 4 is an evaluation of a request for a special use permit for assessor parcel number 3543707-1F to allow alpacas of the Southwest to conduct tours and activities related to the Alpaca Ranch in an AR 5A, agricultural residential 5-acre minimum lot size zone in the Cedar Hills vicinity, Mojave County, Arizona. Staff recommends approval with standard conditions and with the conditions that the applicant shall comply with all ADA requirements and that the applicant shall comply with all the environmental health requirements. Thank you.
Is the applicant present? Okay. We have one speaker on the item. Would you like to address the commission or wait for the speaker? All right. Gerald Miller.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Please state your name and address.
I'm working on it. Gerald G. Miller, 10365 East Old Highway 93, Kingman, Arizona, which is a couple of miles from Ron's place. I was out here before he was, and I've actually helped him put that business together. I think it's a real plus for the community. He's right next to the interstate. It wouldn't be affecting the rest of the houses and things around. The road going to him is paved, except for about 50 feet. So there's not a dust problem or anything like that. He also supports the local residents and their trade items and things. A few, some of us are hobby workers and we do all kind of things. And he does support us, trying to help us. And of course, we like him, and he's always been very good for the community.
Any questions of the speaker? Thank you so very much. Would you like to address the commission? You can or cannot. Do we have any questions for the applicant? We don't have no questions. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve staff recommendation on item number 5.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Buck and second by Commissioner
Azarmi.
Selberg.
Selberg.
It's item.
It's item 4.
Yeah.
Stand corrected.
All right.
Wishful thinking.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm getting here. That may be what the problem is.
All in favor, signify.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
The battery is getting low.
5A.
Yes, 5A. Thank you, Chairman Fluchet, members of the commission. 5A is request for an amendment to the Mojave County General Plan from a suburban development area land use designation to alternative energy land use designation. It is also going to be an amendment to the Long Mountain Area Plan from suburban development area to alternative energy land use designation. This is going to be allow for the development of a 5-megawatt photovoltaic energy facility. It is requested by Unisource. The proposed energy facility will be located on the northerly 32 acres of parcel APN 310-04-085, which is located south of Cali Blanca and west of Bank Street. Unisource Electric and Company will not require a power purchase agreement since they are actually generating the electricity for their own usage. The existing surrounding land uses consists of vacant land as well as a mix of single-family residential. We have received one letter of concern, and their concern is with regards to dust as well as possibly improving Bank Street. We've reviewed the proposed application with compliance to the general plan and verified that it is in compliance with the goals and policies, and are recommending approval subject to the conditions attached.
Is Unisource here?
Yep.
I knew that.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, my name is Mike Gibellew, resident of Kingman, representing Unisource. I'm here to answer any questions that you may have. I did briefly before the meeting talk with staff about the concern of our using Bank Street. It is not our intent to use Bank Street because it's not literally in very good shape. Our primary access would be along Calle Blanca. During construction, we of course will take all necessary measures to keep down dust and keep it maintained and leave it as good or better condition than we first found it. After the project's completed, we anticipate one vehicle a month to just go on site and check for maintenance and any issues that might arise. We did have a public meeting, and most of the comments were positive. We addressed a few concerns, and I'm here to answer any questions you might have regarding this project.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
How large of a project is this? What are you, in terms of the production of the power? What do you have?
I'm sorry, what was the?
5 megawatts.
5 megawatts?
5 megawatts is the projected output of this project. And
Actually,
there's
I
an
like
exist-
it because I noticed that you have a rest area with a sofa on the side of the road already.
Yeah, if anybody wants to observe the local wildlife, they can park there.
Bus stop? Okay.
Bus stop.
My question.
All right, we have one speaker on this item. Ray White. And Ray
He wasn't here
has
before.
left the building.
He wasn't here.
Okay. Any questions of the speaker?
I'll make a motion to approve for staff recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Zami, a second by Commissioner Buck. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign.
Could you wait after the meeting? I'd like to speak with you if we have time. Okay. And one question for the staff. I know it has nothing to do with this item we just talked about. Back in about November, December, we had an item before us that they were going to come back on the Needles Mountain project. And I know that we gave them until like February to provide you with all their documents and everything else and come back to us. This is March. Have you received anything from?
Are we talking about Greyhawk?
No,
Mr.
Needles
Chairman,
Mountain.
we're talking about Needle Mountain, and
Needle
no, they have
Mountain,
not.
Sterling Solar.
Sterling Solar.
I know they
have not
released some
come back.
information to a couple of commissioners, and then we asked them to release more information to the staff, so it would be able to come back before us again. Have you heard from them?
No, we have not.
Could we follow up on it?
Yes, I will
'Cause
do so
I
today
think
and
the
let you know.
commission was,
Yeah, we're waiting
until
for
like February, they were supposed to be for us and all that. Thank you.
Item 5B.
Item 5B is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of the northerly portion of assessor parcel number 310404085 from an AR 10A agricultural residential 10-acre minimum lot size zone to an ES energy solar overlay zone to allow a solar photovoltaic energy project in the Long Mountain vicinity, Mojave County, Arizona. Staff recommends approval with standard conditions. Thank you.
The applicant is present. We have no speakers on the item.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Gabrielson and a second from Commissioner Buck. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 6.
Item number 6 is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of assessor parcel number 3101333 from an AR 10A agricultural residential 10-acre minimum lot size zone to lot size zone, AR 2A agricultural residential 2-acre minimum lot size, and an A general zone to a CMO, a commercial manufacturing open lot storage 10-acre minimum lot size zone to allow for a parcel split and distributing center operations in the Long Mountain vicinity, Mojave County, Arizona. Staff recommends approval with standard conditions and with the condition that no more than 5 parcels may be created with this rezone. Thank you.
Is the applicant present? Would you like to address the commission? Okay, we'll see. The applicant is present. We have no speakers on the item. Any questions from the commission? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve according to staff recommendations.
Second motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Gabrielson, second by Commissioner Abbott. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
concludes call to public.
Call to the public. Do we have anybody wishing to speak on items other than those items that were on the agenda today? Public meeting is closed. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I'd like to recognize Mr. Ekstrom for having,
Oh.
bestowing upon us his expertise and presence for this.
I have a question.
Proceeding.
Can I make a motion for him to buy lunch
Thank you
for
very
us?
much.
Yes.
There was a motion, a second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Buck
No, but with me.
Oh.
Mr. Arzami.
and Commissioner
Second.
Buck, both.
Mr. Estrom is
Mr.
gonna-
Ekstrom should buy the entire commission lunch,
Lunch or drinks?
A or B and C. Thank you.
All right, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.
Our motion got passed.